And another win for the former president. A New York judge lifting Trump's gag order in his ongoing civil fraud trial over free speech concerns. I don't know if his lawyers are happy or not about that, and on the ongoing legal battles are boosting him in the latest polls. Look at this. Our latest Fox News poll just came in. It shows a dominant lead over Republicans, and he's also beating President Biden. Let's bring in the man Sean Hannity. Sean. First of all, it feels good to interview. Do you now? Oh really, you like shifting roles here, by the way. Let's big hand LJ on Fox, friends. How great is that, thanks. So by the way, for the record, as long as we're all here together going to. Let me do it because he's not going to. Let me do it. You first work on my show. This is true. Then you abandon me for Fox and Friends. You can explain to America why we gave him. Know why Sean Henn said, take the job? That's why I did. I'm happy. But seriously, what is they take the job because they'll wake you up with a marching band like we did in yeah, exactly. What does this mean for the former president? Is this just a way to avoid an appeal process? Well, first of all, the last time I checked, we are the United States of America. We have certain constitutional protection, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. How does a judge put a gag order on a defendant in the middle of a case when he wants to go out to the public and explain exactly what his side is? It is the antithesis of everything that I believe we, as Americans, hold near and dear in terms of personal liberties and rights. And the idea that they tried to silence him in the first place is outrageous. What has happened in this case with this judge in New York, for example? Imagine I know real estate. I've known it for years. I've invested in real estate. I know the property values down in Florida, and I put on my show a 2-acre lot of empty land. Nothing on it. No building, it's just dirt. $200 million for a 2-acre lot. $150 million for a 1 and a 2-acre lot. And there you can't even find those. And if you do find them, you're going to probably pay the full asking price. And here's Mar-a-Lago with 20 acres, 58 rooms, 38 bathrooms. You're on the Intercoastal. You're on the ocean. And this dopey judge who's accusing Trump of shifting valuations. Oh, it was over before went in. It is the greatest injustice. And a lot of these cases similarly have these other problems. And I think the American people see it as by these polls. You see the story say in the Wall Street Journal, Joe Biden is going to get rebuked. Yeah, but he's not going to get charged for his documents case. We know no details about it. No leaks this entire time, 8 months, and he's going to get rebuked. But no problem. We also found out that documents just disappeared. He sent a staffer someone sent to Stafford to get documents out of a Boston lawyer's office right after the midterm election. And there's an email chain involved in that actually shows that they did it, and they did it on purpose. If you compare Hillary Clinton, 33,000 deleted emails on her servers. No, none of us had ever heard of BleachBit. No, she deletes every server she has. She has personal devices. Blackberries and iPhones destroyed with hammers, SIM cards are removed. Well, if that's not obstruction of justice, I don't know what is. Joe Biden had 4 separate locations with top-secret class OFI information. When we woke up this morning, we learned that 2 hostages were found in Gaza. They were dead. One was a young lady. There was a video floating around of her alive, and at the end of the video you see her body. They found her body, and then the IDF also found another lady who was older, in her 60s. She was going through cancer treatment, and they found her body dead. And then we read this morning that Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is going to speak at Arizona State University to a student group, and then at Uppin, they're taking down the kidnapping signs of the hostages and replacing them. I think we have some pictures of them with missing cow posters just to mock the hostages. Look at that, yeah. Wow, unbelievable. They're losing donors. They're there. There's some panic among the higher-ups, but it's not stopping the students. Okay, why don't they open their mouths and show a little bit of moral courage? Have a little moral clarity, and understand that you don't sympathize with terrorists, and for this congresswoman to say from the river to the sea, which we all know, means the destruction of Israel, or to hear in the halls of Congress, or some of our most prestigious universities, or to hear around the country all over Europe, or gas, the Jews F the Jews in Australia. I never believed in our lifetime any of us after what happened in Nazi Germany would ever see this type of vicious, vile, virulent hatred, anti-Semitism, racism, to the extent we are well sayan. We were talking about it just a moment ago. I don't know if you heard it, but on TikTok, The letter to B. Laden from 20 years ago is getting a lot of attraction with young people because, and the point of it is, hey, you know what, Ben Laden had a good reason for attacking the United States because now people are looking at the United States as the great Satan, and that Hamas is trying to get rid of the occupiers. Well, you know, this has got to be a gut check moment for America, because you know what, for the world. Great point. You know, there is right and wrong. There are victims, and there are perpetrators, and you know, it is not difficult to come to the conclusion that radical Islamists that killed 1,400 innocent Israelis, they are terrorists. Their own charter calls for the destruction of Israel. They have built out this extensive network of terror tunnels. I've been in them. I've been to border towns in Israel, like Stot, where they got hit with 10,000 rockets in just a 10-year period of time, where little kids can't play outside. They have to play in underground, bunker playgrounds. These America needs to decide, are you with them, right? Or will you stand for what's right? The Democratic Party, they need to decide, are you with Congresswoman Tlaib and other virulent, hate-filled anti-Semites? Or are you going to stand, and for a stand against terrorism? This is their moment of Trathshian, the college kids. They're not buying any of it. They have bought into this. Would you fund a school, knowing this type of is happening? And frankly, I think Congress will probably at some point take that up. One of the things that I loved about your Saturday show is you would go all around the country and you would talk to young people. And what I'm hearing from young people is shocking to me. Can you imagine you send your kid to Hare? You send your kid to Columbia. You send your kid to Cornell. These are Ivy League institutions. They are there to get a quality education, and yet they get indoctrinated into a belief system. It's not just the Ivy Leagues. No, it's not just Ivy Leagues. Steve, it's not. You're right. And, you know, where did this hatred all build from? Where did it come from? How are they indoctrinated? What are we doing wrong that they don't understand? Here's what I'm encouraged by. There's a lot of Democrats who are just as angry as you about this, and there might be a place for them to come to together, and you have Moskit. You have Schumer. You have a lot of people standing up, and I'm thinking to myself, is there a D or an R next to there? Okay, we Schumer calling out to Lee by name, if he had really real moral courage and real moral clarity point. But here's you last night. But people that didn't get Foxination are thinking about, double-clicking right now on it. Here's you last night, you one of the keynote speeches. Sean was asked to give, did a great job, and then you wouldn't did your show. Here's a clip. I got off the stage 3 minutes before my show, right? Which is good, see you. It's name they made it. I made it. There's no backup host. Let's watch night as a Fox News night because we honor what makes America great are the men and women of this country, the people that get up, play hard, pay their taxes, raise their kids, take their kids to church and love this country, and would never burn a flag and don't take the side of terrorists. You are all the great Americans. What that is a uniquely Fox News message. You know, one of the sadly, all right, we've kind of been here a while. Welcome, Lawrence. LJ. But no, and you will be here for many, many decades to come. He's only 30. I know, so proud of him. We're very proud of him. He's already got dental, but he doesn't need it. Thank you. No, I just started my 28th year. If you watch my early shows and you made a bet that I'd still be here 28 years later, that was a bad bet. The guy from Atlanta who heard you on the radio back in the day probably said, how he get on TV exactly, for definitely face for radio. No doubt about it. But I'm stead my 28th year, and I'm so proud to be a part of a company that could put on a show that they put on last night, that honor the true heroes in our country, because all of these celebrities, they always have their award shows. And they pat themselves on the back, and they have their Red Sea pets, and they wear their fancy dresses. And oh, what are you wearing today? I'm like, I don't give a flying atom shift what you're wearing today. I know what kind of show, what kind of shoes you wear. Flying now, thank you, guy. From California is flying. But what kind of shoes are you wearing? I have no idea. Heads, blue. And then to see the 91-year-old man last name, then to see, you know, our friend Frank Siller, and what he has done with Tunnel the Towers, and his nephew. Yeah, Dennis Q, saying last. Night Hollywood superstar. I'm just saying he might be, apparently. I think he's producing a movie, and he's actually going to star as Reagan. Yeah, isn't that great? You know, I talked to him. I interviewed him on my show. And if you watched him in The Parent Trap, he's fantastic. He's like Father of the Year. Then you watch the movie. I Can Only Imagine, based on the song by the Christian group Mercy Me, by the way. If you've not watched that movie, watch I Can Only Imagine. It'll touch your heart. And that song is one of my favorite of all time, and he is like the meanest dad in the world. But late in life has a conversion. It really is a heartwarming. Do you really like Dennis Quaid? Definitely good, because I don't want tension coming out next. Are you worried about that? I just want to make sure, by the way. For the record, I get up early, I get a marching band to wake me up. There's a whole story behind that. There's a guy over there behind the camera. I wish he'd come in front of the camera, and I can call him out. That's Gavin. Gavin is the producer of Fox and Friends, right? So we're in New Hampshire one year. Good job, 2016. He's the vice president of mornings. Okay, vice president of mornings. And so every morning I would go to bed 3:30, 4 o'clock, and about 5 minutes after I fall asleep, outside my window was the marching band practicing for Fox and Friends. I'm like, boom. I'm like, cymbals getting me out of bed, getting ready for the New Hampshire primary when we were in New Hampshire. That's what that video was of, you hanging over the railing. You were yelling down at us on the set, why you came out of your hotel room to yell at us on set. It was one of those hotels, has the balcony and you can see the lobby. A fun trip. Yeah, that was fun. Well, by the way, that this is what I love about all this. It's the people of this country, all these people here. All those people honored last night. You know what we get? Way too much attention. We get accolades we don't deserve. Some of you have paid way too much, but in all honesty, some of you think of the mainstream media. Is there any other media outlet that would honor? No, the great people that do make this country great. It's the people that make the country great. But we wouldn't be on air without any of them. They food on our table. Well, the proof is in the pudding. If they thought that would be a good show, they might put it on. That's true, they haven't. We knew it would be, and it was. I don't know if you think about adding. You do what you want to your show, but we have weather in our show. Have you ever tossed to the weather? Have you sure I can toss to the weather? Go ahead, all right? Time now to, I'd love to toss to Janice is great. All right, number 1. We check in now with our senior meteorologist, Janice. I watch your reports every morning. You're phenomenal for our Fox weather forecast for today. Supposed to be just a crisp toss, Sean. I mean, it was like all the, I really taking lessons on tea. I'm Steve Doy, I'm Brian Kilme, and I'm Angly Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis